Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Elizabeth, and today we're going to be talking about 10 different ways to make your child a millionaire. Let's get started. Number one is to learn about compound interest. So compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. It's seriously incredible. And I've done a couple videos on my channel. I can link them here or below. But compound interest, check out a compound interest calculator. I've done that on my channel. And basically your money, it starts, if you invest it in an investment account, it starts really small, but over time, it shoots up, and this compound interest, it just multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. And the amount of money you invested is this compared to how much it actually grows to. So compound interest is critical, and you want to learn about it and use it and then teach your kids about it. Number two, so this might be controversial, but get yourself a higher paying career. Start teaching your kids about higher paying careers. Now, if they want to do whatever they want to do, that's fine, but it is important to communicate and maybe do an exercise on how much things cost and what their life would be like if they did that career. I am a huge fan of going for your passion and what you're interested in. I think if you do that, you'll be happier and you'll be more successful. But I also do think it's critical to think about this. And I wish I would have thought about this more critically and seen some of the numbers on it, because it can change your life over time. So think about what are your kids' interests, or also what are your interests, because this is about you too. So increasing your own income, because that will ultimately help your kids. But to start thinking about what jobs are out there. What are your skills? What are things you like doing? Like maybe you like helping people. That doesn't mean you have to be a teacher, right? Or if you like helping people, that doesn't mean you have to go volunteer. I know I always wanted to be like a professional volunteer. I loved food banks and just nonprofits and things like that. And just helping people in any way and doing projects. But there's a lot of ways to help people, or if you could think about it, like being an anesthesiologist, or like any of those roles. I could get specific on it, but I don't want to get too specific. But you can think of these careers that actually help people, but that you don't necessarily think about on the day-to-day basis. How many of you have seen a job that you're like, wait, that's a career? It doesn't, I should have written a list of these. Maybe I can pop some here on the screen. But there's so many jobs out there. I was like, what? I have never even heard of these jobs. So just exposure and exposing your kids to the types of jobs and opportunities out there is critical. So take a look at your skills and see an interest and see if there's a job that maybe pays more. It's not all about the money. I know there's like the benefits and time off or remote work or things to consider, but it's just something just to tell your kids about. I think it could help them be set up for success. Number three, so avoid debt and teach your kids to avoid debt. So you want to model this. I think one of the best ways to teach things is to model it. Kids and people don't always do what you say. They do what you do. They see what you do and then they do it. So be a model. Debt is compound interest working against you. So we talked about how amazing compound interest is. If you are in debt, it's compound interest working against you instead of for you. So you want to get out of that. I know some of the rich leverage debt in certain scenarios. And so I could talk more about this on how it could help you if you want to take that risk. But typically debt, credit card debt, all of those things is not going to help you. Number four, so I really like this one. It's limit your big expenses, the biggest expenses that you have. So have you guys ever heard about trying to save money, talking about don't get that Starbucks and don't get this? Okay, that does add up. It does add up over time. But the things that you should be really focusing on are the things that Americans and people spend the most money on: a car, a house, and food. So transportation, you're living, where you're living, and the food that you eat. That is typically where the most money is spent. So how can you cut down? Maybe get a smaller house, at least for now. Maybe get a used car, or a car that doesn't have all the bells and whistles, that still gets you there and still looks decent, right? Or even if it doesn't look decent. And then food, how can you cut down on your grocery budget? So looking at these big things and trying to limit them, because otherwise you're going to be putting most of your money into that. You don't have money for investing, you don't have money for fun things, etc. All right, number five, I love this one as well, is to maximize assets and limit your liabilities. So I've done a video on income versus assets, but liabilities are things that, like debt, things that you have to pay for, things that you have to upkeep. Assets are things that pay you. And so you want more assets. Rich people and well-off people have more assets. And so kids should learn the difference between this. This is like, it flips a switch in your brain. You're like, oh, because you're used to getting toys, you're used to getting things and stuff. But if you start thinking about no, I want to own things. I want to purchase things. Like, for example, if you had $400 when Apple released the first iPod, anyone remember those? You could have bought an iPod that would most likely be in a landfill, right? That $400 is gone. Or you could have bought Apple stock that would have been worth nearly $180,000 today. So that's a big difference. You have $180,000. Yes, I'm an advocate for buying certain things that can make your life better and enjoying your life. Like, I have an Apple computer. I've waited many, many, many years to get one, but it's helping me like with my YouTube and things like that. But know that it's not going to make you money and it's a liability. So how can you have more assets and just teach kids to think like that? It's more about like training their brain to think certain ways, just like with mindset, just like with these financial principles, is like training them to think in a different way. Instead of consuming, you want to start having them think about ownership and some of these tricks and tools and staying out of debt and not being like everybody else. You don't want to be like everybody else. Number 6, start a business. So I know I love doing stuff like this. I think one of my own biggest purchases that I had when I was little was I bought like a real cash register. So don't ask why. I loved it. I loved like teaching in business and stuff like that. Loved it, and would do all the stands and create these businesses and things like that. Loved it. But start it. Start one for yourself. Start one for others. That's an asset. That is something that you can own. And once they start thinking about how businesses work, they're more likely to explore side hustles and other opportunities. So just get them thinking that there's more than just being like a firefighter or something like that, like things that we tell kids about. It's important like that. If they want to do that, that's great, right? But we think about some of the jobs in our community, but a lot of the jobs in your community can be a business. We don't always talk about that. We don't talk about business owners. We don't, and if you don't live by a big city, you don't necessarily see some of these opportunities, or if you don't listen to entrepreneurs or things like that. I know we watched Shark Tank and The Apprentice and things like that growing up. I loved business shows. So just get them thinking about that and the idea of ownership. 7, increase social capital. So you might have heard the saying, it's not always what you know, it's who you know. So this can be true. It does matter what you know, but you never know what will happen with who you know. So encouraging your kids to make good relationships, you making good relationships with other people that could support your child or yourself and that you can help support as well. And so these friends can help you find jobs. They can help you get opportunities that maybe you wouldn't. And so I know this can be really, really helpful. Number 8, you could also get books. So get books for yourself. I know I'm starting to do this. I just ordered a book yesterday, and I'm going to be reading books. I'm going to be sharing information that I've learned with you if I feel like it might be helpful. I just am really excited about learning. I love to read. And so I'm going to actually invest in books for myself. And so getting books for your kids about certain topics, but also eventually about money. And like I said, that surrounding your kids with people who know things and that are smarter than you or that know more, that could give them the information. And know that your kids are going to learn the most from you and the people that they spend their time around. So if you don't know the information, if you don't know how to take care of your finances, if you don't have good finances, it's going to be hard for your kids to learn that. And some of your mindset around money is going to affect your kids. So start working on that now so that you can share the good side with your kids. I have one little bonus tip that I've learned from some successful people, and it's actually also in this article, and it's about luck. So luck is more than just luck. Typically, there's some design and some action involved. And so I was listening to an interview last night, and they were talking about that, someone was telling this billionaire, you are so lucky. You're so lucky that happened for you. You're so lucky that you made this sale or whatever. He's like, you know what, how I'm lucky? Because I actually stayed longer. I talked to this person. I did this thing. He set himself up for these scenarios. Does something happen every time? No, but he's putting himself in those situations. If you're just sitting in your room all day, is anything going to happen for you? No, unless you're maybe on your phone and you're reaching out to people, you're connecting. That's a strategy too. You can reach out to people. So tell your kids and for yourself, start making those connections, start taking action, put yourself in situations to be lucky. I'm investing right now, and then later I'm going to have millions of dollars, and it's like, oh, you were so lucky. You're so lucky. Yes, I'm lucky because I stumbled upon the information and then I implemented it, right? But I put myself in that situation because I started learning. I was like, I need to learn more about financial education. I need to learn more about wealth building and money. I need to learn. And so I started learning, and then I found the information. I'm like, oh, why did I not know this? And I was like, I need to do this. I need to take action. Oh my gosh. And I was like telling my husband, we got to do this. Why didn't we do this sooner? And so I took action. So anyways, make sure that you teach about luck, but that you also teach about putting yourself in a situation that could create luck. All right, so I hope those tips were helpful on helping your child to build wealth and to be millionaires and multimillionaires and whatever they want. Remember, life is not all about the money, but it is a tool and it can help. And I'm all about being healthy. I want to have a healthy mind and body. I want to have a healthy relationship with myself. I want to have in spirit. I want to have a healthy relationship with my family, my beautiful husband and my son, my stepson. And I also want to have a healthy relationship with money. I want to have that as well. So it's all about intersecting that, because I think it could help you then serve the world, serve your family, and more. So thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. It really supports the channel. Feel free to comment below what you think. And if you have any other suggestions or questions for me, be happy to answer those as well. And feel free to give this a subscribe if you want more videos like this on improving yourself and your life and becoming a better person and someone that you're meant to be. So thank you guys for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.